Stop!
What are you?
I'm a mouse. Duh.
This is Xtra! Channel update and more!
Why are you dressed so scary? It's Halloween.
Hi, I'm Samuel Victor, and you're watching Pixels Extra. Today, Pixels.ltd are celebrating Halloween with a very special Spooktacular episode. You must be very excited.
Hey Jesse, listen, I'm so excited.
I know you're excited, but try to forget about me.
I'm so excited. What you do
That
to me.
Friday feeling.
I'm about to lose control and I think I like it. Oh yeah.
This started life as an ordinary Pixels Extra episode, with various channel updates and other content that I've promised people on Twitter over time when we hit certain milestones, etc. However, I've had at least 20 people message me directly saying they're looking forward to seeing what I do for Halloween. So, stuff it, let's expand it into a full-length episode. You've just stumbled across our Halloween Spooktacular. Lucky you! So, what are we going to cover? Well, there's plenty of updates on the channel, of course. Also, the last video on the channel was the first episode of Pixels Lists, a new show. The feedback from that episode has been absolutely phenomenal. 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 A real relief to me, as I wasn't actually sure if the episode was too long or if people would find it boring. Actually, I had a ton of people telling me they loved the way I covered the games.
Is this some kind of joke?
More of a game, really.
So, if you're one of those kind people who left a nice comment, dropped a like, or reached out to me on Twitter, thank you so much. It was actually pretty overwhelming.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction.
Because of that, I considered making this Halloween special another Top 14 episode. But I couldn't decide on whether to cover my favourite survival horror games, my top Castlevania games, or spooky games on the Sega Master System. So, you know what?
I got a little twist.
It's Halloween, it's a party, let's celebrate. Let's do all three. As we're doing multiple topics, I'll pick 7 from each category rather than 14. Please be assured that, of course, every game I mention is one that I personally own. However, if you'll forgive me, I'm not going to be holding up every game to the camera to show like I usually do.
What?
I've only just finished filming another full Pixels.ltd episode, and it completely destroyed my games room getting all the games and props ready, so yeah.
Yeah!
Rather than pull them all down off the shelves, I'll just pop up the box art, but take it for granted that I have actually played all of the games and I do actually own them, okay?
Okay!
Gotta do the cooking by the book. Anyway, this cake is great. It's so delicious and moist.
Now, I promised a few people online that once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'd make a thank you video and recommend some of my favourite channels under 1,000 subscribers for other people to subscribe to. Well, I actually reached that milestone a lot faster than expected.
We're talking about world conquest, and I want to thank you.
Muchly thanks to Octavius Kitten's video the other week. So let's incorporate that too. I'll do a quick rundown of the top 14 YouTubers under 1,000 subs that I think deserve more attention.
Look at me, look at me, hey, look at me, look at me, yeah, look at me. There's just an empty space.
And to finish off the episode, I'll have a very special spooky Halloween story told in rhyme. Sounds crappy, I know, but it's been requested by a handful of people and I actually think that you might enjoy it. It's a perfect way to end a Halloween special, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, see what I did there?
Good one. That was a good one.
This will inevitably make for a pretty long video. However, as always, there's a pinned comment below so that you can skip around to whichever parts interest you, or come back and watch this in multiple sittings.
fantastic Digi Savage Gaming Show and all our supporters.
The people on screen right now are the coolest on the entire internet. Want to be like them? Come join our club.
Join our club.
Join our club.
Join our club.
If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit.
Now that is thick chocolate.
Rhino tested for thickness.
Say, Simon. Yes, Pepe? What do you get when you cross an elephant with a rhino? Gee, I don't know. What? Elefino. Elefino.
So, as we've got 4 lists to go through, let's split them up with other content in between.
Hi, I'm Hagatha Utsley, live from Bulimia Falls High, where we're surrounded here by a group of innocent students, most importantly, Dawson Deary. Student, drum major, and inspiration for my best-selling book, Dawson is a Murderer.
That book sucked.
Not according to Oprah.
Pixels list.
First up is our spooky Sega Master System games.
Click on the light, there's nothing there. Everything's vanished in the air. Boo!
No real rules for inclusion here, other than they must have a spooky or paranormal theme.
There was a ghost! There's ectoplasm! Did you see the ghost?
I'm not rating them or going into huge detail, because that would make this episode go on literally forever.
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
Inclusion on this list basically means that each game is recommended. Simple as.
Simples.
5, 6, 7.
Number 7 is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Of course, this is a game based on the 1992 movie, which of course itself was based on the 1897 novel, which created the character of Count Dracula, and introduced many elements of what we now think of vampire fantasy lore.
He can take on many forms. He is both young and old. He can appear as mist, as vapor, as the fog, and he can vanish at will.
Similar to other licensed games of the time, like Batman Returns or Jurassic Park, there are many completely different games with the same name depending on what platform you play it on. For example, on the PC it was an FPS, and on SNES and Mega Drive it was a Castlevania-style side-scroller. The 8-bit games on Game Boy, NES, Game Gear and Master System are less horror-based and more akin to a faster run-and-jump platform game, albeit with a spooky theme. Whilst I've not played every game, the consensus online seems to be that the 8-bit games are actually the most playable. And out of the 8-bit games, the Master System version is definitely the best, having the best graphics and no screen crunch. It's not a particularly original game, but there's some good non-linear level design, and it's fun and smooth to control. A solid recommendation.
That's ridiculous! So it's not true.
6.
Laser Ghost was a decent light gun game in the arcade. A Sega rail shooter where you shoot ghosts, demons and monsters makes this somewhat of an early House of the Dead. It's a fun game for sure, however, if I was being harsh, I'd say it's fairly generic. The Master System version of the same name is actually a far more interesting title. It's another light gun game using the excellent Master System phaser.
That's a really nice gun.
Thanks. My mom bought it for me. Now I'm saving up for bullets.
9mm?
When it's cold.
My eldest son actually found this sapper at a school fair once and bought it for me with his own money, which was so awesome of him, really touching, and I love it even the more for that. I owned the light phaser back in the day. I bought it especially to play the excellent Operation Wolf conversion on the Master System. But Laser Ghost actually makes even better use of it. There's this really unique mechanic where you have this girl who's trapped in a haunted mansion, and you have to protect her as she walks around by shooting all manner of spooky creatures that try and stop her from escaping.
Nice shot!
Huh? Oops. You guys all saw that. I mean, that was just an accident.
Yeah, it happens.
It's a really unique game. Good friend of the show, Sarah's Game Collection, has just done an excellent video on this game on her channel for Halloween. Link up here.
Number 5.
The Addams Family was of course an awesome TV show from the 60s which was based on the New Yorker comics by Charles Addams, about a family of vampire-like humans with a taste for everything macabre, trying to live in a normal society.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky.
The Addams Family.
Throughout the 70s, there were many animated adaptations, including crossovers with Scooby-Doo, and these were often repeated during the 80s. A thematically similar black and white TV show from the 60s, The Munsters, had a late 80s reboot with The Munsters Today, which was very successful and ran from 1988 to 1991.
We're the monsters. We're the monsters. Oh, yeah.
Perhaps spurred on by this success, the Addams Family came back in a big way in the 90s. With several really awesome big-budget Hollywood movies, and both new animated and live-action TV series.
Is this made from real lemons? Yes. I'll buy a cup if you buy a box of my delicious Girl Scout cookies. Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
This resurgence in popularity meant that the original TV series was also repeated on TV a lot, and as a kid, I adored both the Munsters and the Addams Family. The Addams Family game is a decent licensed platform game for motion, where you control Gomez Addams trying to rescue the other members of his family. Sure, it's yet another licensed platform game, but it is a good one. It plays surprisingly close to a Mario game, and it's pretty polished. I'd argue that the 16-bit game is better, especially the SNES and Amiga versions, but the 8-bit game is interesting too, as it has different levels, some interesting ideas of its own, and arguably is less linear.
Looking back, I could have played it differently.
Out of all the 8-bit versions, this is the one to play. I'd highly recommend it, along with the SNES title. If you fancy a decent spooky cartoon platformer, this is a good time.
What are you waiting for?
Ghouls and Ghosts should need no introduction. Capcom's arcade sequel to Ghosts and Goblins, the game was a huge hit, and is known for its legendary difficulty, and the comedy way that upon being hit, Sir Arthur loses his armour and you can see his underoos.
Sir, I am shocked.
Lighten up, Z-person.
You may assume that you'd be better off with a more perfect arcade port on more powerful hardware, but the Master System version is interesting because it contains shops where you can buy weapon upgrades, magic spells, and upgrades to your armour, making it somewhat of a deeper experience. The graphics and sound are great, almost as nice as the original arcade game. If you're a fan of the series, this is one to check out. Again, a good companion game to the excellent SNES Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Smile with the rising sun.
3.
David Crane's Ghostbusters is a pretty unique game, released on many 8-bit systems including the Atari 2600, Amstrad, Spectrum and C64, MSX and of course Nintendo's NES and Sega's Master System. Of course, based on the seminal comedy horror movie that pretty much defined cool in the 80s, the game is a surprisingly deep title with lots of strategy and variety that sees you running a ghost-busting business. You choose what vehicle to buy, equip it with weapons and tools of your choice, bearing in mind you have a limited budget, and then drive around the city capturing ghosts, trying to simultaneously keep the haunting level of the city low enough to keep the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man away, whilst also managing your books to keep the bailiffs away. Of all the ports, the Master System version has the best graphics, best driving sections, and an exclusive shooting gallery section. It is the best version by far, and in my opinion, is one of the most original and greatest movie tie-in games ever.
2.
Master of Darkness is a Castlevania clone. There, I said it. But that doesn't mean you should discount it. Quite the opposite, in fact. If you're a fan of the NES Castlevania games, this gives a real perspective as to what it would be like running on more powerful hardware. Some of the graphics are amazing for an 8-bit title. This game swaps Castlevania's whip for a knife, an axe, and even long-range weapons like a pistol.
I got an itchy trigger finger.
Poison ivy?
Nah, I showered at the Y.
Oh, bad soap?
Yeah, I guess it's only supposed to be used externally.
Throwable bombs, and for some reason a boomerang.
What is it?
A stick.
Is it a stick, Lord Blackadder?
Yes, Mom, but it is a very special stick, because when you throw it away,
It comes back.
Well, that's no good, is it? Because when I throw things away, I don't want them to come back.
It's a strong recommendation from me on this one. I was close to naming this as number 1, if not for...
Just
Land of Illusion is a Mickey Mouse game. You might think that a Mickey Mouse game wouldn't count as a spooky one, but this is the Illusion series, one that plays heavily on witches, haunted castles, magic spells, and horror tropes taken from Grimm's fairy tales. Of course, I could have included Castle of Illusion as well. It's an excellent game in its own right, and many actually prefer the Master System version of the game to the also excellent Mega Drive one, because it's more puzzle-based and less linear than the 16-bit title. Also, this is a far better running animation for a game than this bouncy, jerky one. Sure, it's a cute animation, but the 8-bit Mickey just plays so much smoother as an actually controllable game character. Land of Illusion takes everything that Castle of Illusion did and improves upon it in every way. It has incredible graphical cutscenes and a genuinely interesting quest progression where you meet fairy tale versions of different classic Disney characters along the way.
Are you actually working on this case, Officer?
Prime suspect. Dowie prime suspect.
Mickey gets various items as time goes by which give him new skills, such as the ability to climb walls, walk on clouds, or even magically shrink himself, all of which allow him to traverse back through the world map and reach new areas. There's some incredible level design here, including brilliant puzzles and mechanics like this area where you have to pick up a lamp to be able to see, but later on drop that lamp to climb on.
I love lamp. Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it? I love lamp. I love lamp.
Or this amazing section where the level auto-scrolls in one direction and you have to strategically press buttons to scroll the level in the opposite direction to get to the end. Or in this area where you have to build a bridge of blocks to get across the lava pit. I could talk about this game forever. It's truly ingenious and one of my favourite platform games ever.
Hot dog, diggity dog, diggity boom, what you do to me?
Made out with a hot dog.
Dirty water hot dogs!
Dad, I so need one.
Oh my God, that was one time.
I feel like a hot dog.
Foot long?
At least.
Hot dog!
So that completes the first top 7 of our episode. Now's a good time for a mini channel update.
チャンネルアップデート
Do you actually have any inside dirt?
As a matter of fact, I do.
I've had really positive response to the Pixel Plays episode where I played the Master System version of Sonic for charity, and many people have asked me for a new episode. Well, I can announce here that the very next playthrough challenge will be Land of Illusion. Like Sonic, it's another game that I know really well, so I'll be setting myself a very difficult challenge, trying to complete the whole game in a very tight time limit, whilst collecting all the hidden stars, getting all the secrets, and whilst taking no damage and losing no lives. Once again, I'll be doing it to hopefully raise awareness and some money for mental health charities. I've been completing various gaming challenges and even ran a 36-kilometre running challenge in Paris. Please check out the link in the description where you can donate to help me support these good causes. I'd really love it if we can get together as a community and do something positive. Thank you in advance.
Thank you very much.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm super excited to announce that we've hit our first 1,000 subscribers.
We're gonna have a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. They said I won't be nothing, now they always say congratulations and celebrations. When I tell everyone that you're in love with. Look out! Cliff!
I want you to know that you've created a beautiful family who loves you and loves each other more than anything. And we thank you for that. I don't feel very deserving of this in your presence, but I would like to thank Harvey Weinstein.
3-time Academy Award-winning director, producer of Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T., Men in Black 1 and 2, wants me to star in this next big blockbuster opposite of Mission Impossible, Honky Honk Tom Cruise. Say what?
Phew! That was close!
I'm amazed. I truly didn't think we'd get here this quickly.
It's just all happening so fast.
Definitely have Octavia's Kitten to thank for including me in her list of top YouTubers under 1,000 subs. When she first included me, I was hugely surprised and honoured, and I remarked to someone on Twitter what an amazing gesture it is for a bigger YouTuber to support smaller channels. I've seen other great creators like DJ Slopes and Pete from On a Retro Tip do similar things, and it really shows they appreciate both their audience and the community as a whole, and aren't just selfishly trying to grow their own channel.
So you're one of those network reporters, huh?
Actually, cable. But it's just as important.
Oh, it's more important, because on cable you can see butts and boobies.
Would you settle for a PG-13 relationship?
What's that?
Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it. The hardcore girls just wear lingerie and some form of animal ears.
Doesn't she look great, honey?
Doesn't Mary have a lovely bottom?
Careful there, Ted. That might offend the girls.
Right. Of course, they all have lovely bottoms.
Whilst of course I am nowhere near as big or influential as any of those guys, I did make a promise that when I hit 1,000 subs myself, I'd do a video recommending other channels for people to subscribe to. And I'm not one to break a promise, so let's go. I'll be recommending 14 channels in total, Pixels list style, but for variety in this episode I'll split it into 2 sets of 7. The only stipulations are that each channel must have less than 1,000 subscribers, make retro gaming videos, and not have already been included in Octavius's list. I'd highly recommend subscribing to everyone in her list, of course, as I've done so myself. I'm just trying to bring attention to channels who've had less exposure.
Pixels list.
I'm not going to rate these guys in order of preference or anything like that. They're all equal recommendations from me. I'll just go in alphabetical order. So, here's the first 7.
Asobi Tech.
Asobi Tech is a fantastic company run by brothers QuangDX and V-Pixels, who are making a really cool indie game, Mao Mao Castle, inspired by Sega's Superscaler games of old. Quang is an amazing dude who used to program commercial Game Boy games, and also is an incredible competitive gamer, taking part in tournaments for games like Street Fighter 2 and Tetris, 2 games he could happily whoop my ass at. He also has an incredible collection of pretty much every home console and handheld that's ever existed. You've probably seen him popping up in videos with other YouTubers like Octavius Kitten, DJ Slopes, Kim Justice and more, because he generously shares his incredible collection with others. He recently trekked some incredibly rare items to Play Expo in Blackpool just to let everyone experience systems like the Pippin, the Pioneer Laser Active, portable Dreamcasts, Jaguar CD, PSX, and so much more in person. It was a huge surprise to me when I realised that he only currently has under 250 subscribers of his own, so go subscribe to him right now, because this guy really puts in the work. I'll be recommending 2 videos to get started on each channel. So for Asobi Tech, I'd check out his introduction to the awesome Mao Mao Castle game he's making, and this livestream video where him and Octavius Kitten unboxed an incredibly rare Dreamcast TV. Links for the channel, his Twitter, and the 2 videos are in the description.
BitQuest.
BitQuest is a brilliant channel run by Dan, a top Aussie bloke with a great sense of humour who does really awesome playthroughs of retro games and indie titles, as well as reviewing obscure indie games. He puts a lot of effort into the presentation, and is genuinely very entertaining to listen to. He's at less than 200 subs at the moment, and deserves way more. To get started, I'd recommend his series playing Space Quest and Donkey Kong Country 3. I invited Dan to be part of our Sonic special that we're making, and he absolutely blew me away with some really incredible editing and elaborate set and prop and music work. He's clearly a really creative guy capable of some amazing work, so I hope that as his channel grows, he'll branch out from the Let's Plays and show what he can really do. Whatever he does, it will be entertaining, as he's a top bloke with a really great personality, and personally, I could listen to him chatting away all day.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do?
Of course, named after the famous Sega marketing gimmick, Blast Processing is a really great show with fantastic production values, making incredible retro content. He disappeared from YouTube for a few months, having just gone through a house move, and I was very happy to see him finally return this week with an amazing Castlevania episode for Halloween. He's getting near to 1,000 subs, 3/4 of the way there at just under 750. Still, he deserves way more than that. His videos are excellent, very well researched and really entertaining. I'd start with this really cool video on why John Carmack's coding is so incredible, and this brilliant video on the Lucky Dime Caper, one of my favourite ever Master System games.
Bloggo's Pow.
Bloggo's Pow is a great channel named after the preposterous-sounding fictional game being peddled in the infamous anti-piracy PSA. His videos are really excellent retro fare, covering a huge variety of games and systems in impressive detail, and in a really entertaining way. He deserves way more than his around 400 subs. I'd recommend you get started with his excellent video on Neo Geo shmups, and his series on arcade games that have never been converted to home systems. Dibbs of the Grig Gaming is another channel that I just can't believe has so few subs, less than 50 at the time of recording this, which is absolutely crazy. His videos are really high quality and show a huge passion for gaming. I'd recommend his video on glitches and tricks for Sonic on the Master System, which even taught me stuff, and I thought I knew everything to know about that game. And this truly amazing retelling of the story of the development and release of Street Fighter II for the Mega Drive, and how that game fueled the rivalry between Sega and Nintendo's 16-bit systems. It is truly, truly excellent, like documentary quality stuff.
Wasn't he good? Wasn't he fine, so good?
Fantastic Dizzy is a really awesome channel, run by a good friend of the show, Richard Carter. He mostly uploads quick playthroughs of various retro games, indie titles, cool ROM hacks, and reviews of vehicles for Grand Theft Auto. He uploads really regularly, with a ton of new videos coming steadily, and I'm always interested to see what he's decided to cover and hearing his opinions on them. It's through this channel that I've discovered a good deal of great games that I'd have never heard of otherwise. He's only got a handful of subs at the moment, which is a crying shame as he's clearly a top bloke working hard to put out regular original content. To get started, I'd recommend his video on the amazing looking recent SNES release, Nightmare Busters, and this cool complete ROM hack of Super Mario World with Pokemon characters and original levels. The Geeky Dad is another channel putting out really good content and having less than 50 subs. We need to fix that as soon as possible. He's clearly very passionate about the retro games scene and is making really good content. He has a similar editing style to me with comedy retro cutaways, so if you like my channel, you might like his too. He started a podcast called Gaming Saved My Life and recently had the brilliant Brian from Spacies as a guest. And is also making an awesome History of PC Games series where he goes through significant PC game releases on a per-year basis. He's currently in the late 80s. Personally, I can't wait till he gets to the mid-90s with so many incredible DOS games from 93 to 97 that I'm really, really looking forward to hearing him cover.
Tell me more, did you get married? Tell me more. Does he look like a...
So, that rounds out our first 7 recommendations. Please do go and check all of them out. YouTube won't let me add cards to click for all of them, but I've put links to literally all of their channels, Twitters, and the videos that I mentioned in the description below. All of them have excellent channels and deserve way more subscribers. I really hope that once they all reach their first 1,000, they'll consider paying it forward and doing the same.
When you're giving love away, love will come again to stay. What you give is what you gain when you pass it on.
So, to continue the channel updates.
Channel update.
Any new developments?
Yeah, my vacation pictures.
Oh. Who's that, your grandmother?
With the bong? Yeah.
Glaucoma?
Spring break.
I want to mention right now that I'm hugely honoured and privileged to be taking part in the second series of Octavius Kitten's 7 Days of Scary on her main channel. In the last video I uploaded, I gushed about how much I love Octavius.
I love you, Mom.
I love you, son.
I love you, Mom.
I love you, son.
I love you, Mom.
I love you.
Todd Hans is the cute disabled man.
And what an inspiration that channel has been to me, so I won't embarrass her by doing it again, but needless to say, when I recorded that, I had no idea that I was going to be making a guest appearance on her channel.
Kill him with kindness. Kill him with kindness.
Kill him. Kill.
Go ahead now.
Hi. You're so cute. Of course.
Depending on what day I upload this video, my video with her will either be live or going up any minute now. It'll be episode 5 of the 7-episode series. As I'm recording this, I've already seen the first 3 episodes, and they are incredible, some of Sarah's best work, so I literally can't wait for the video that we made together to go live.
I can't wait.
I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say I used some of my experience in the film industry to do some really cool set and CGI VFX work to make Sarah's ideas come to life. Here's a very quick teaser, which I stole from her Twitter. Please don't copyright me.
This is a public service announcement. Do not attempt to change the channel.
Huh?
I am so excited to be a part of this.
I'm so excited!
I literally couldn't speak when I read her message asking if I wanted to do it. Of course I wanted to. I'm sure you're all subscribed to her, but if not, please remedy that immediately. You are going to want to watch this video. It is going to be legendary.
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. 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 Keep waiting. Wait for it. 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 Here it comes. Almost there.
How long do we have to wait for it?
And I hope you're not lactose intolerant because the second half of that word is... I'm not waiting for it anymore. Dairy!
Oh, and this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my...
Can you say meat whistle, boys and girls?
Do you have any idea what you've done? The forces you've harnessed, the lines you've crossed?
I thought you'd be impressed or something.
Oh, don't worry, you've made a very deep impression.
Right, let's cover another 7 games.
Pixels list.
This is going to be my top 7 favourite survival horror titles. Of course, the survival horror genre started with Sweet Home on the NES and was taken into cinematic camera angles and polygonal 3D with Alone in the Dark, and then really perfected with Capcom's seminal Resident Evil. Of course, my tastes are mostly retro, but I didn't rule out more modern games. However, I am sticking to more traditional survival horror titles. I'm not including third-person action titles like Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, or The Last of Us, first-person titles like Resident Evil 7, System Shock, or Doom 3, nor FMV-based puzzlers like D or Enemy Zero. Of course, this list is going to be pretty objective as each series has many great titles, but I'm just going with my gut and choosing my own personal favourites. Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem was a really surprising release for the GameCube. Considering its dinky size, purple colour at launch, and plethora of colourful, bright games, the Nintendo GameCube is often thought of as the more kiddified console of its generation, compared to the grittier PS2, Xbox and Dreamcast. Despite of this, the GameCube actually has a ton of more adult games, including an amazing selection of nearly every classic Resident Evil game, with some amazing remakes, prequels and conversions. Eternal Darkness was fairly overlooked at the time. It's a psychological horror with a really unique mechanic of having effects when the multiple characters start to lose track of their sanity. Fans of Resident Evil will enjoy this game, but it's no mere clone, with some incredibly interesting mechanics like a pretty in-depth magic crafting system. Highly recommend adding this to your GameCube collection, and don't forget, if you don't have a cube, you can also play it on your Wii. And is there a single household in the world that doesn't have at least one Nintendo Wii knocking about somewhere in the bottom of a cupboard or something?
Six.
Parasite Eve is an amazing title for the original PlayStation, based on the Japanese science fiction horror novel of the same name. The game adaptation is made by Squaresoft, Of course, mostly known for their RPGs, and thus this game plays like a cross between Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. It doesn't sound as if it'll work, but it really does. There are sequels which are good, but I give the nod to the original as actually being the best. I don't want to say much more about this game as I'll be covering it in more detail for our Christmas special. Yes, it's a horror game set during Christmas. That is as awesome as it sounds. Just play this one and you'll see why.
Everyone asks me, who the hell is she? That weirdo with 5.
Now, I honestly could have picked almost any Fatal Frame game. They're all excellent, but Maiden of Dark Water on Wii U really struck a chord with me. For those who don't know, it's a series where instead of using weapons to attack enemies, you use a film camera to take their photos and capture their souls. This one takes deep inspiration from Japanese tales of children's spirits in wild water and the infamous forests that mavericks are apparently fond of. It's truly incredible, with brilliant storytelling and insanely beautiful graphics. Coming from Tecmo, the guys who make the Dead or Alive series, this game is sometimes a little too sexualizing of its female victims.
With voyeuristic intent.
Damn it! She's flat!
Actually, they're C-cups. Guess I gotta get these things redone.
But in some ways, this actually kind of makes it more creepy. The extra screen and motion capabilities of the Wii U tablet controller are made brilliant use of here, with it replicating the viewfinder of the camera, and you hold it up to the TV to take your photos. It's a really nice touch.
More over the shoulder, honey. Hold it. Beautiful. Do that pouty thing. Oh, yes. Do that pouty thing. Oh, oh, fabulous.
It does sound gimmicky, I know, but it becomes second nature, and it actually really puts you into the game. Sadly, in America, this game was download only. In Europe, we got a really cool limited edition box copy with beautiful artbook. I'd highly recommend tracking this one down. If you're unsure, there is a decent sized demo on the Wii U eShop, so you can try it out and see if it's for you. Me? I'm definitely a believer.
When love says goodbye, it's a 4.
At number 4, we have Dino Crisis. Some will argue that the second game in the series is better, and I can definitely see that argument. And heck, the third game has zombie dinosaurs in space. So there's that. But for me, the first game just has the right atmosphere.
A scary dinosaur with a loud ferocious roar.
I've seen many people complain that it's just Resident Evil, but with the zombies swapped for dinosaurs. But I'd counter that by saying, it's Resident Evil, but with the zombies swapped for dinosaurs. If I have to explain to you why that's awesome, we're clearly not on the same page.
Gee, Pepe, I don't think they get it. And if I know? Why do I got to explain to you people, okay? And if I know? Tell me, Ali, and if I know?
In the late 90s and early 2000s, Capcom really had perfected how to make an effective horror game. This is a good one. I'd recommend the Dreamcast version, as of course it's graphically much improved over the PlayStation original. And also I'm a Sega fanboy apparently, so take that into consideration. Speaking of awesome Capcom horror games...
'Cause I remember
Yeah, I'm sure some people would place this at the number 1 spot, and I would be hard-pressed to disagree with them. Resident Evil 2 took everything brilliant about the first game and improved on it in every way. I'm not sure what there is that needs to be said about this game, as surely everybody knows it and just why it's so well regarded to this day. Just hearing the crowd's reaction at E3 when they announced a remake should tell you how loved this game is. I'd probably recommend the PC, Dreamcast or GameCube ports over the original PlayStation game, as they do have improved graphics, slightly less blocky to modernise. The Dreamcast wins out in my opinion, as the VMU screen on the controller is used really effectively with a real-time health display including heart rate. That's so cool.
Think of me at Christmas, what am I to do? Spend it with the family, I've got 2.
At number 2, I'm picking Silent Hill 2. I put a strong recommendation for this in a pop-up in my last video, but I'm reiterating that here as I'm pretty sure 99% of people don't bother to pause and read the pop-ups. If you are one of the special few who do bother, please let me know in the comments below. I could have easily picked the first Silent Hill, as that game is also incredible. The Konami of the time seemed to have the technical expertise, graphical nous, and a true understanding of exactly what it takes to make a game really unnerving. Whilst Resident Evil games can be funny with their B-movie acting and the tongue-in-cheek nature of some of their stories and set pieces...
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
The early Silent Hill games spend their time just carefully digging under your skin and making you question everything that you know. These games stick with you after you play them, and will make you dream about them.
I hope you can't sleep and you dream about it. And when you dream, I hope you can't sleep and you scream about it.
I can't get no sleep.
And maybe even make you a little more nervous the next time you're walking alone outside. These really aren't for the faint of heart. The second game on the PS2, Xbox and Windows PC is the perfect mix of the original psychological nature of the games with more realistic graphics than the pixelated original.
First bite into real milk chocolate. 5, 4, 3, 2.
So, my favourite survival horror game is Resident Evil Code Veronica. This may be controversial or even sacrilegious to some to pick a non-mainline Resi game, but honestly, this game is incredible. It takes place between the events of Resident Evil 2 and 3, and is actually referred to by its creators as the true sequel to Resident Evil 2. 3 was actually a spin-off game and only called 3 due to contractual obligations with Sony. Code Veronica takes the style of the original, tank-controlled, resource-swapping, tense originals, and adds fully 3D polygon backgrounds instead of pre-rendered ones, which allows for camera movement, real-time lighting and shadows, and just an overall increased sense of immersion, realism and polish. But it's not the technical side that makes the game shine, it's the plot, and its main antagonist, the eccentric Alfred Ashford.
But it took time to understand the man
and his unhealthy obsession with his twin sister, Alexia.
Alexa, add Big Hairy Balls to my shopping list.
Okay, I've added Big Hairy Balls to your shopping list.
Alexa, set an alarm for 7 a.m.
Alarm set for 7 a.m.
7 a.m. waking up in the morning, gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs.
That's stupid. Alexa, add scrotum bags to my shopping list.
I won't say any more as I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't played the game. I'd recommend either the Dreamcast original with VMU support, or the GameCube version of the slightly expanded Code Veronica X. The PS2 game is still good, but it is the weakest port. It's still great though. This game is just brilliant no matter how you play it. It's really highly recommended.
It's astounding.
Channel update.
Right, now for more channel updating.
You do like to watch.
Who doesn't?
I mentioned the fact that I'm appearing as a guest on Octavius's channel, and I love appearing on other people's videos as it will allow a new audience to find me and then hopefully discover our channel through the collaboration. Another collab that I'm hugely excited about is that I will be appearing on the Since Spacies podcast, newly renamed the Since Spacies Show.
Since Spacies.
For those who don't know, this is a show hosted by Brian who has been gaming since the original Space Invaders, hence the name. He's a great guy, hugely knowledgeable and passionate about games. He even worked for Sega in the glory years between 91 and 94. Brian has had some incredibly prestigious guests in the past, so it's fantastic to be invited along. We'll be chatting about lots of great topics, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share yet, so I won't. But suffice to say there's a great range of current hot button topics and also some great retro Sega stuff that we will be covering.
G'day, Brian here from Since Spacies, and in just a moment I'll be featuring 3 awesome YouTubers from around the world. As I say for the very first time, welcome to the Since Spacies Show.
When pulling all-nighters editing episodes, I've been listening to all the old shows and thoroughly enjoying them, so it'll be a trip to actually take part in one. It'll be available as a video to watch and also as an audio podcast later down the line. I recommend going to Brian's YouTube channel immediately to subscribe if you haven't already done so.
Time is fleeting.
Right, after that channel recommendation, here's the second set of my 14 recommended YouTubers under 1,000 subs.
Pixels list.
KeithShizuo? I hope I pronounced that right.
You're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Under 250 people, his channel is criminally undersubscribed. I don't understand how he hasn't gained more traction. His content is actually amazing. I personally discovered him by accident when he posted a very raw and emotional response to the Channel Awesome controversy, but when I checked his other videos, I realised he had some incredible content, extremely funny and creative. I'd recommend checking out his brilliantly written review of Road Rage 3, a game published by Phoenix Games, the company famous for consistently releasing some of the worst games in history, but programmed by Atlus, one of the greatest developers in history. Such a weird dichotomy and a truly astounding video on the game. Secondly, I would recommend his recent video on Britney's dance beats, because, my god, the sacrifices this guy makes for his comedy. Wow. Just wow.
This isn't how I hoped it would be.
It's weird, because this is exactly how I hoped it would be. It's pretty accurate.
Next up is RetroUnlim. They have two channels, one main one and one for archives of their live shows. I'll link both below. Neither channel has even hit 700 subs, and that is quite frankly baffling.
I do not understand.
I'm sure many of you will know the RetroUnlim brand from the group of creators they host on their website. Favourites of mine and friends of the show like DJ Slopes, Kim Justice, Guru Larry, Novabug, On a Retro Tip, Pixel Game Squad, The Gaming Muso, Top Hat Gaming Man, Zypho, and many other awesome creators are all part of the RetroUnlim family, so it makes no sense to me at all that their own personal channels have so few subs. On the main RetroUnlim channel, I'd recommend this interview with Larry and this YouTuber's panel at Play Expo. And with their live channel, I'd highly recommend any of their episodes, which always have an incredible guest list of creators just hanging out and chatting about games live.
Welcome everybody to the Savage Gaming Show.
Savage Gaming Show is someone I shout out quite a lot on this channel, but seriously, if you haven't already, please go check him out right now. He's just past the 100 subscriber mark, but he deserves way more than that. His content is really unique, really entertaining, his knowledge of retro games is fantastic, and he has a really unique way of sharing it. It's just such a positive and fun channel to watch, and always brings a smile to my face. Often teaches me something I didn't know as well. I'd recommend starting with his top 10 scrolling beat-em-ups video and his first episode of Gaming Recollection, a series that will be covering every year in gaming from 1982, the year he was born, onwards. I'm really looking forward to new episodes of that one. Nice one, Savage.
Nice one, brother. Nice one, brother. Nice, bruv. Nice one, brother. Nice one, bruv. Brother.
Sorak Space is a really unique channel that I only recently discovered. The scripts for his videos are properly hilarious, like truly brilliant. I'm not sure what else I can add, just brilliantly written, edited and performed videos that regularly make me laugh out loud. I'd highly recommend the excellent Puntastic video on Mort the Chicken for PlayStation, and the hilariously self-aware Sonic and the Secret Rings video. It's genius, truly. He's coming up to 500 subs, but that's nowhere near enough for this level of quality. Go check him out right now.
I'm the artist Mark Flynn, and today we're discussing...
The artist Mark Flynn makes brilliant videos about all kinds of gaming content. Really nice production values, as I guess you'd expect from a self-proclaimed artist, but truly, these videos are very high quality. At around 650 subs, he's on his way up, but I still feel he deserves way more. His recent videos on the best Sonic character designs are great, and his top 10 2D platformers list really made me a believer. Him and I are clearly on the same page. The dude has excellent taste.
Monsieur, with this rocher already spoiling us.
The Bit Vault is a cool little channel that's mostly about hunting for games pickups at flea markets, boot sales, charity shops and the likes. I love this kind of content, and of course absolutely love the much bigger channels doing this kind of thing, like the Game Chasers and Pixel Game Squad's NES Pursuit, possibly my favourite TV-style format show on the whole of YouTube. Bitvault is a far smaller channel with under 200 subs, but I'd highly recommend checking him out, as there's a lot of potential here. He's a top bloke making entertaining videos, and I'm looking forward to seeing his channel evolve, with all the energy and passion he clearly has. I'd recommend this video where he gets a whopping 120 NES games and this recent flea market game hunt. Really great stuff.
T-shirts, sweatsuits, posters, great stuff has it all.
Rounding out my list of 14 is Walking the Cow, currently under 300 subs and deserving of way more. Seems like an utterly nice guy. I love listening to him talk about games. He comes up with some brilliant ideas for topics, and the production values on his videos are really good. As the starting point, I'd recommend his video on the hardest Amiga games and Xbox 360 games that he wishes were backwards compatible. So, that was my list of 14 YouTubers under 1,000 subscribers that I thoroughly recommend. I really hope this helps them getting a few more.
I want...
I said, you know, come on, it's going to be a bit difficult, like not being able to mention all those things that have happened to Britney. Don't you think there's going to be a little bit of an elephant in the room, right? And an MTV executive, to his eternal credit, said, what if there was literally an elephant in the room?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Elephant.
Elephant?
Ella if. Rhino.
Rhino?
I know. Elephino. Unbelievable.
I struggle to think of any female creators under 1,000 subs. My favourite smaller female creators, like Sarah's Game Collection, who I mentioned earlier, and Trista Bytes, have recently grown a lot, and they're over the 1,000 sub mark. However, I'm sure there are plenty of great creators that I've missed out on, so please recommend any and all of them to me below.
I said, I'm gonna build that ship. I love you. I see. I love you too, cute disabled man.
One bonus selection now. It's not a gaming channel, but as a Halloween special, I feel justified in recommending a horror channel. Everyone should go and check out Dead Real, a fantastic channel covering horror films, toys and collectibles, run by the insanely creative Dan from Odd Pod Retro.
You're such a fine young gentleman. Help! She's touching my special area!
I'm sure some of you know Odd Pod, a brilliant retro channel covering games, toys and all kinds of nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. If you aren't subbed, you owe it to yourself to do it now. Dan has a unique way of covering things using a cast of puppets and does awesome creative skits. His horror channel, Dead Real, currently has less than 400 subs, which is far too few. I'd recommend you start with his Drive-In Massacre video and review of the 2017 It film. And his main Odd Pod channel has around 4,000 subs, a really great number that I wish I was at, but in all honesty, he does deserve way more.
But in the end, he needs a little bit more than me.
His Halloween videos are always something special, and I'll link to a few of them in the description below. If you fancy more Halloween videos, seriously, just go through and watch them all, they're amazing. I'd also recommend this video, ostensibly reviewing a Dreamcast magazine, but with an amazingly horrific twist in the middle, and a beautiful bittersweet ending. It's art. It really is.
Work of art,
Sonny Monroe.
Pixelsリスト.
Can I hear the list again?
Oh, Luce, come on.
Please, please. Just one more time.
So, now on to the last list of our Halloween Spooktacular, my top 7 Castlevania games. I'm sure the number 1 and 2 spots won't be a particular surprise to most of you, but there are so many great games in the series, it was truly tough to narrow it down to 7, so I hope people don't get too mad at me for missing out their favourite titles.
I could just kill him.
Yeah, but you didn't, did you? I'm just kidding you. No, really, you didn't kill him, did you?
Order of Ecclesia is a fantastic game for the Nintendo DS. It has a similar plot to Simon's Quest, but don't let that put you off. It's perhaps the last great Metroidvania game in the series. It's brutally difficult, but of course the RPG-style elements mean that clever play can mitigate this somewhat. This game is truly worth buying a DS for. It is that good. The third Castlevania is undoubtedly the best of the series on the NES. It just did everything right. Similar to what Super Mario Bros. 3 did, it takes the first game in its series and expands upon it and bests it in every way possible. The multiple paths in the level design really shine, and the addition of partner characters add variety and increase replayability. This is close to being the best NES game full stop. It's certainly in my top 10 with no question. Bloodlines on Mega Drive is the only Sega Castlevania game unless you count the Japanese-only port of Symphony of the Night. Similar to the fourth mainline game on the SNES, Konami really knew exactly what the hardware of each 16-bit system could do, and pushed it to the limits with incredible effects and set pieces. Also, some of the best music you'll ever hear on the Mega Drive sound chip is here. This is a really stunning game, and it's a crying shame that Sega fans didn't get more Castlevania games.
Oh.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Super Castlevania 4 for SNES is really what took the series from being excellent to being art. Seriously. From a technical perspective, this is incredible, with amazing use of Mode 7 and the expanded colour and sprite capabilities of the SNES, and the new mechanics added like grappling and crouched walking really helped make the game feel like a true 16-bit expansion over the 8-bit titles. Maybe it's a bit too easy, and newer games were even better, but this is still a must-play for any fan of the series. There are many portable Castlevania games, most of which are good at the very least, but Aria of Sorrow for Game Boy Advance is easily the best. This is the first time I'm properly mentioning narrative in this list, but this game demands that I point out the storytelling and the way it ties to the world design. It's just exceptional. This is perhaps the best designed of all the Metroidvania-style games in the series. In many ways, it's the spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, and it's this close to bettering it. I can't really praise it any higher than that. Okay, so we're down to the last two, and I don't think either will be a surprise. The only debate is in which order will they come. Yeah, I really wanted to put Rondo of Blood at number 1, but I just couldn't do it. There was a hair width in it. If I could have tied both in first place, I would, but that would have been a cop-out. In the long run, the Metroidvania style of Symphony of the Night and all its associated bells and whistles just beats it, but Rondo of Blood is still without a doubt one of the finest games of all time. Of course, the version you want to play is the PC Engine game. The SNES port Dracula X is great, but it's not the true experience. Rondo of Blood is like a crash course in excellent game design. For what is essentially a linear action game, there is a near infinite amount of depth and incentive to explore and replay. Truly incredible.
Incredible. Not the same as all the rest. I am the one and only. There can be only one.
So, number 1, Symphony of the Night. Predictable? Yes, but this is an obvious choice for a reason. It's a near perfect game. In a time and on a system where 3D was the order of the day, Konami wisely stuck with 2D for Symphony, and really showed exactly what the PlayStation can do with sprites with a dev team who know what they're doing. I'm not sure I need to tell you why this game is great. If you're even slightly interested in Castlevania games, you ought to have completed this game several times over already. If not, stop watching this video right now and do so. There aren't many games that I can claim to have single-handedly invented a whole new genre. The fact that this game isn't included with the PlayStation Classic Mini is an unforgivable oversight. This will be the reason to hack your system and brute force it on there to remedy this injustice.
It's a bittersweet symphony.
Oh, and for those who have accused me of being a Sega fanboy,
J'accuse!
Nah, you don't want to play this on the Saturn. For Castlevania, Sony is where it's at.
You know where it's at.
Just come around.
Oh, Christ, it's almost midnight.
Nothing like putting in some overtime to save a miserable serial killer.
Alleged serial killer.
Right.
Right, so to finish the channel updates, I'm pretty sure people will have been wondering about our main show, Pixels.ltd, and when the second episode will be out. To those of you I say, you obviously haven't read the updates on our Twitter, Pixels_Limited, and our blog at patreon.com/Pixels.ltd. You don't need to be a Patreon subscriber to read the blogs, they're free, so remember to check them out. But seriously, episode 2 is out very soon. There were some delays with the cameos and props needed for it, but it's all shot now and I'm just tweaking the final edit. As you know, the plan is for each main episode to have 3 guests, 2 YouTubers and 1 retro TV star. And the lineup for this episode is amazing.
Featuring Octavius Kitten,
Hi.
Teddy Rubskin, hey there, and the Funhouse Twins.
Melody and Martina!
The theme of the episode is early retro gaming mascots like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Horace and Dizzy. And it takes us right from where we dropped off last episode in 1988 to 1991 and the release of Sonic the Hedgehog. Episode 3 will then be a Supersonic special with a whole episode dedicated to the early Sonic games, and we've got a huge list of incredible guests for that episode, including Nostalgia Nerd, DJ Slopes, and many other people getting together and celebrating the Hedgehog that cemented my love for gaming.
I want to play a game.
What kind of a game?
Right, now to finish this special on a truly Halloweeny note, I've got something a bit different. I'm sure most people watching this won't be aware, but I used to be in the music industry, and although I've mostly moved into film work, I still kind of am. I mentioned in our first episode that my mum was a professional writer, with her poems often in magazines, newspapers, on the radio, and even on TV when I was very young. Of course, this inspired me a lot as a kid, but I worked out fairly quickly that in the 1980s playground, if a young Sam said that he was a poet, he would get beaten up. Whereas if he said he was a rapper, people thought he was cool. Since age 8 or 9, I've been writing raps, and by now I'm pretty damn good at it. I've won a fair few songwriting competitions over the years, and I've ghostwritten lyrics for many rappers. Most recently, I've rapped with Stormzy on his Snapchat and did a song to promote brotherhood.
I'm not a shav, I'm a townie. Straight at the precinct, I'm a guy to have a brownie. Lyrically feasting while the other men drowsy and falling asleep. I'm getting money like a dowry. It's getting indecent. I'm everything's about howdy. Good day, good evening when the women all surround me. Give me a reason not to get so rowdy. I'm getting them beats in the bass like a Powski. Tiffin and decent.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Well, not yet.
Oh, mail order, huh? Yeah, I've tried that a few times myself.
The music video had over 1 million views on YouTube. Recently got hit with a copy strike and taken down. I'm sure there's a mistake there, so I'm currently fighting that.
Something's not right.
Really wrong.
I've worked with some major US artists over the years, including rapping on MySpace exclusive R. Kelly tracks, appearing on remixes with T-Pain, Akon, Public Enemy, and working with several members of D12, Eminem's band. I actually had a single out a long time ago with Bizarre from D12. You know, the dude with the shower cap.
Lose Yourself video, I was in the back. Superman video, I was in the back.
It got played on Radio 1 quite a lot, and from that I did some other tracks exclusively for the BBC late night shows, including a rap on Valentine's Day, Christmas, and Halloween. I'm guessing you can see where this is going. Whilst I appreciate that many people watching this won't be into hip-hop or rap, I'm going to try something different here and recite the lyrics a cappella as a spoken word poem. If it's not your thing, don't worry, you can stop watching now, there's no more game stuff. But I actually had a fair few people reach out to me and ask me about my rap music, and one about this track specifically, including a couple of my Patreons, so why not?
So why not take a crazy chance?
I'm sure some people watching a Halloween special would appreciate a spooky story, right? Let's set the mood. Perfect. Okay. Quick content warning. I've censored this slightly, but of course, it's still a Halloween story. There's murder, violent images, etc.
In the dark you are freaking.
It's kind of like a spoken word slasher movie, so you've been warned.
So, you think the killer's gonna show up?
It's Halloween, isn't it?
Samuel Victor coming back on the mic. This time a little sicker because it's Halloween night. The story ain't for kids, so go kiss them goodnight. And pour yourself a drink while I darken the vibe. I'd like to tell a story from when I was a teen. A cautionary tale of what happens on Halloween, and Friday the 13th got nothing on my school, and high school's right where we set the scene. The most popular guy in school is called Chris Green. He's like a cross between James Dean and Steve McQueen. He's got a date with Christine. She's the prom queen, her body's so perfect like a porcelain figurine. He's waiting for her leaning on the pinball machine in the entrance to the cinema to see Halloween on the big screen. It's the scariest movie they've seen, and they got in with fake IDs because she's under 18. And Chris Green puts his arm around Christine and wonders if her parents will even notice that she's missing. He wonders if anyone would even notice them kissing in the cinema, his hand slipping into her jeans. She wonders if she should tell him that she's only 15, but the movie's so loud that no one hears nor's listening. And everyone else in the place is engrossed in the big screen, and just when the movie's moving to the big scene, Christine makes an excuse to go visit the latrine, to check her makeup's clean and think about the magazine that she read advising teens about the first time and things, fumbling money into the condom machine. While she's about to leave, someone intervenes. On his hands are big knives like a wolverine. He pulls her into the toilet stall and kills Christine, but the movie's so loud that no one hears her screams. Meanwhile, some other kids, Charlene, Maxine and Dean, are waiting by the carving on the tree by the green. They said there was a party there at 12:15. It's just gone midnight on Halloween. They see somebody's put balloons and a trampoline, but nobody's at the scene, looking peaceful, serene, but the atmosphere is evil, foggy like a bluish green. More than 10 metres ahead can't really be seen. Then out of the atmosphere appears Eugene, the caretaker they make fun of in the school canteen, and throw their food on the floor, making sure that he's seen, so he has to clean up all of their burgers and beans. Soon this will turn into a murderous scene, because the caretaker takes care of them there on the green. And they thought they misheard him, like a Mondegreen, but they've been drinking and they think it's funny to provoke him umpteen more times. More rhymes, what they say is obscene, but they think that it's funny, till he loses it and knocks out Dean. And ties Charlene and Maxine to the trampoline. That was unforeseen, wishing they had a time machine. He's lost it, there's no controlling him either. Petroleum ether, pure clean benzene, a massive scene of flames and screaming teens, but it's too late, Eugene's left and no one's seen. Back at the school, the caretaker Eugene's wife Maxine, a fat lunch lady shaped like a kidney bean, in an unhappy marriage because her husband doesn't love her, discovers a note in the coffee machine. Says he'll meet her in the Beamer, parked in between the mausoleum and the moss green, fantasizing the letters from a handsome marine to sweep her off her feet and love her like she's always dreamed. She runs to the car and gets in, but it's too dark to see, so she just asks him for his name, but he doesn't say a thing. He just starts to kiss her. She feels like a queen, it's so romantic, spontaneous and making her scream. not knowing that on the roof of the car a stranger's looking in through the sunscreen like watching in widescreen, and soon he slid it open, becoming a slide screen, and silently with perfect timing he climbs right in. Don't even take no time, he slips the knife right in, no silence, not even lambs could hear their screams. The vicar steps out of the car and wipes his blade clean and prays to the heavens for another divine victim. And he opens his eyes and the pastor's scene. A woman standing by the cash machine whose ass is lean and holds her throat open and chokes her on a castor bean to poison her, then gets a finger full of Vaseline to warm her up like he did earlier to Christine. And speaking of Christine, here comes Chris Green, asking around the cinema but nobody's seen her, so he's phoned his friend Dean but he's not answering either. He was supposed to meet him at the party by the tree on the green because Dean had found two girls, Charlene and Maxine, and they got a bottle of gin. They were going to go party. But no one's talking to Chris Green. He can't find nobody. He walks to the green and sees a slumped corpse by a cash machine and immediately calls the cops. They arrive very quickly on the scene too. They ask him where he's going and where he's been to, and they've just come from a murder scene by the trampoline and a body find hidden behind the cinema screen. And the local vicar said he's witnessed a scene of violent attacks on young women, and he said it was Chris Green. And Eugene the vicar said he's found a knife in his locker. He's probably also killed his wife. Now Chris Green's prime suspect and locked up for life. Just shows what can happen on Halloween night. And Eugene the caretaker meets up with the vicar and they sit around the fireplace drinking malt liquor, discussing their victims, who was best, who was sicker, and their laughs get thicker as the open flames flicker, burning evidence, hiding it, smoke like a smokescreen to cover up what they did tonight, laughing and joking. The vicar says they'd never believe. And Eugene laughs and says maybe if he pretends to grieve he could get paid holiday, compassionate leave. Said it's the best harvest that they've achieved. The vicar just smiles and pulls a cleaver from his sleeve. Another victim for the patron saint of All Hallows Eve.
Well, that about does it. I killed my cousin, my heart's broken, and my sister's dead. Damn it, I love this job.
Watching the sunset fade to black, show the names, play the happy song.
Thank you so much for watching. Links to all the channels recommended in this episode and everything else you need are in the description. Please consider helping our charity appeal, and why not join our super awesome Patreons like Richard Carter, aka Fantastic Tizzy, The Savage Gaming Show, and everyone on screen right now. What fine gentlemen. I've been Samuel Victor. Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you again next time.
Please like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter. Thank you for watching.
Did you know that most serial killers have an extra chromosome?
Wow, really?
Yeah, trust me. I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay, now I can take this stupid thing off. Ow!